Hello everyone, this is Erlin from the Experience Research Lab. In today's video, I'll talk about secondary research and several aspects that you need to consider. Despite the name, secondary research is the first thing that all researchers must do before jumping into the field. It might neither sound nor seem as exciting as primary research, but it should be the core and the starting point of any research. Whether it is market research, customer research, product research, or user research, you need secondary research to at least see the background and understand the problem. Secondary research is also known as desk research because it requires you to spend most of your time sitting behind the desk looking at the summary and collation of existing data. Summarized and collated data may come from two sides, internal and external. Internally, it can be customer databases, marketing records, sales reports, and other reports related to business activities and performances, such as imports, productions, and exports. On the other side, external data may come in as academic papers, autobiographies, technical and trade journals, news articles, textbooks, and other documents published by government agencies, industry and trade associations, business organizations, or media publishers. Secondary research can be qualitative. In this case, you may refer to findings from studies, particularly those touching on the topic of your interest. This can be observations or personal interviews. In other cases, it can be quantitative, and you may only have access to statistical databases or historical records. Data from Google Analytics is one of the most frequently used secondary data to help organizations understand the user's characteristics and dynamics based on the geodemography, socioeconomy, and the psychography. Secondary research offers flexibility and saves a significant amount of time. Thanks to advanced digital technology, most of data is available online across platforms. Data from secondary research is remarkably affordable. It requires little to no acquisition cost. While some publishers indeed charge a small fee to access the literature, others let everyone download it for free. It saves effort and time. It is also fair to say that secondary research saves expenses because it generally costs less than primary research. Without fieldwork or lab experiments, there is no need to be worried about sampling, recruitment, and incentives to pay the research participants. With the least possible amount of investment, it offers a quick introduction to your topic of interest and allows you to explore concepts, ideas, and thoughts. To ensure the efficacy and efficiency of your secondary research, you as a researcher need to follow clear guidelines on the following. The research topic, what is you trying to understand? The sources, where will you collect the data? Data collection method, how will you do it? Data management, what will you do with the missing values, for example? Analysis technique, how will you analyze the data? Every year, researchers publish nearly 2 million articles touching on various issues. It includes political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, and legal matters. Which one is your topic of interest? Determining data is more than cherry-picking and randomly accessing data presented in the previous research materials. The selection must be reasonable and carefully take numerous aspects into account. Among others are the relevance to your topic of interest, the expertise of the researchers, the credibility of the publishers, the research methodology, the sampling technique, the data collection tools, the data analysis approach, and the time of publication. Despite the abundance of data available, you shouldn't expect that all relevant to your topic of interest. For example, when you're trying to understand the user experience with the performance management system, research on the payroll system may be slightly irrelevant. Now, let us say you have found several pieces of research on user experience with the performance management system. At this point, you need to conduct a background check on the researcher. While it is not always the case, quality research comes from accredited, certified, experienced, and licensed professionals who have knowledge, skills, and expertise in the field. When it comes to news articles or other materials that do not mention the researcher individually, it is advisable to evaluate the credibility of the publishers. Are they neutral or lean towards a particular idea, belief, or type of behavior, for example? Regardless of the researcher, an individual, or an organization, the research ideally describes the methodology used from sampling to data analysis. Was it qualitative or quantitative? How was the sample? Was it representative of the population you are currently studying? What were the tools used to collect the data? And how about the approach used to analyze the data? Qualitative research such as observations, focus groups, and in-depth interviews help gain an in-depth understanding of social phenomena. However, it doesn't explain the relationship between the phenomena and the causes, for example. The sampling technique defines the characteristics and size of the sample involved in the research. Geodemographic, socioeconomic, and psychographic factors play a significant role in the way people think and feel. The findings from previous research on user experience with performance management system in startups might be not 100% applicable to state-owned enterprises. Data collection techniques and tools used in the previous research also played a part. Data collected face-to-face were not necessarily the same as those collected over the phone, via email, or online. The data analysis approach also determined the outputs. Did the previous research include all data, such as those with missing values in the analysis, or did it filter them out? Did it replace the missing values with the mean values or median values instead? Was there any waiving, and what was the waiving factor? As technology changes exponentially, data recency gets more valuable than ever. While most of us expect to work with stable and steady data, the length of period for data, once recorded accurately, to remain accurate is getting shorter. People change, they get older and move from one place to another. Their level of education, occupation, income, and social status shape their values, beliefs, and attitudes and behaviors. As previously mentioned, diving deeper into the details, you should expect that the findings from the previous research are not 100% applicable to your topic of interest. Even if they are, you will probably need to redo it due to the social dynamics. Secondary research provides insight that help you see the bigger picture from different perspectives. As you identify the gaps and deficiencies, you can develop your research with more detailed questions. With secondary research, you can make primary data collection more specific. What additional information do you need to understand the background and the problem? In other words, it lets you build on the existing research with an extra layer of credibility and trust while saving time and money. Since it is impossible to trace back the data from secondary research to the level of individual cases of statistical units, you will need to collect primary data from a sample of the users of your product. If you're trying to understand the user experience with performance management system in state-owned enterprises, for example, you need to observe how they work with the current system. Further, you may also need to interview and even ask them more questions through a survey. In the upcoming video, I'll talk about primary research, but today I'll stop here. Thank you for being with me. For more insight into research, please subscribe to this channel, visit our website, listen to our podcast, and watch more. Our contents are available in text, audio, and video. Cheers!